February 1959. 9 young hikers vanish in the frozen wilderness of the Ural Mountains. Days later, search teams make a grim discovery: a shredded tent, footprints leading into the snow, and bodies scattered in the ice. Some with broken skulls, others missing eyes, one without a tongue. No survivors, no clear answers.
To this day, the Dyatlov Pass incident remains one of the most chilling unsolved mysteries in history. What really happened on that mountain? Was it nature's fury or something far darker?
Welcome back to The Curious Past. I'm Shan.
And I'm Danny. Today, we're unraveling a mystery that has baffled scientists, investigators, and conspiracy theorists for over 60 years: the Dyatlov Pass incident. A story of frostbitten horror, government secrecy, and theories that stretch from avalanches to UFOs.
Our story begins with a group of 10 hikers, mostly students and graduates of the Ural Polytechnical Institute, all extraordinarily knowledgeable. All 8 men and 2 women were grade 2 hikers, and upon their return were to receive a grade 3 rating, the highest level one could earn in the Soviet Union.
The group's leader was the capable and respected 23-year-old Igor Dyatlov. But one member, Yuri Yudin, fell ill early in the expedition and was forced to turn back. He would be the sole survivor, forever haunted by the fate of his friends. The other 9 pressed on into snow, cold, and history.
Their journey progressed as planned in the initial days. They diligently documented their progress in diaries and through photographs. Their goal was to reach Otorten, an intimidating mountain whose Category 3 difficulty rating made it a challenging yet achievable feat.
On January 31st, they began their ascent of Kholat Syakhlem mountain, whose Mansi name ominously translates to Dead Mountain or Mountain of the Dead.
They had planned to camp on the opposite side of the pass, but due to worsening weather they lost their direction and abruptly set up camp on the slopes of Kholat Syakhl.
Had they moved less than a mile downhill, they could have sheltered in a forested area, but the sole surviving trekker who left the group prior to the February deaths, Yudin, speculated that Dyatlov was responsible for the decision, stating, Dyatlov probably did not want to lose the altitude they had gained, or he decided to practice camping on the mountain slope.
Dyatlov had wisely told Yudin he would send a telegram to the school's sports club upon their return to the village of Vijay, but also warned it might take a little longer. The telegram was expected by February 12th.
When this deadline passed and no word arrived, friends and fellow students were not overly concerned given the harsh conditions of such a trek.
It was not until relatives of the 9 hikers demanded a search party be sent out on February 20th that any attempt to find the men and women occurred. On February 26, 14 days after the expected return, a rescue group made a grim discovery.
A student from Ural Polytechnical Institute, Mikhail Sharavin, found the group's abandoned tent on the slopes of Kholat Syakhl, stating, "The tent was half torn down and covered with snow. It was empty and all the group's belongings and shoes had been left behind. The tent was ripped open from the inside and all their clothes, boots, and diaries remained, suggesting they had fled in extreme haste."
Following a set of 9 distinct footprints exiting the camp, the search party began to piece together a terrifying sequence of events. The footprints, some from people only wearing socks or one shoe, indicated that the hikers had fled the relative safety of their tent in the middle of the night. Strangely, after about 500 feet, the tracks were covered by snow.
It was at the edge of this forest, about a mile northeast of the pass, that the first bodies were found. Yuri Doroshenko and Yuri Krivonyishenko lay next to the remnants of a small makeshift fire. They were without shoes and nearly naked.
The cedar tree itself held strange clues, with branches broken as high as 16 feet above, suggesting one of the skiers must have climbed up in an attempt to find something or hide from it.
Between the cedar and the campsite lay the next 3 dead bodies: Igor Dyatlov, Zinaida Kolmogorova, and Rustem Slobodin. All 3 were posed in ways that suggested to investigators that they were headed back toward the camp.
At the time of their discovery, the official cause of death for all 5 was deemed to be hypothermia.
It took over 2 months until May 4th for the remaining 4 members to be located. They were recovered under 13 feet of thawing snow in a ravine over 200 feet from the cedar tree.
They were better dressed than the first 5, but it appeared they were not wearing their own clothes. Each hiker was wearing pieces of clothing that belonged to their fellow hikers, rather than their own gear.
The deaths of these 4, however, were not due to hypothermia. 3 of the hikers had fatal injuries.
Thibaut Vergnigiones' skull was thoroughly damaged, and both Dubinina and Zolotaryov had fractured chests. Coroners said that the force required to sustain such injuries was analogous to a car crash.
The most disturbing finding was on Dubinina, who was also found without her thumb, her eyes, and parts of her lips. All 9 bodies and their clothes were reported to have strange amounts of radiation readings.
The official Soviet investigation concluded that the hikers had died due to an unknown compelling force, a vague and unsatisfying explanation that only fueled decades of speculation.
So, what could have caused 9 experienced hikers to flee their tent in the dead of night, half naked, into a blizzard, only to suffer such bizarre and horrific injuries?
The theories are as wild as the case itself. Initially, investigators suspected the local indigenous Mansi tribe, but this theory was quickly dismissed. The Mansi were known as peaceful people, and the force required to inflict the injuries on the hikers was beyond human capability. Furthermore, only the footprints of the 9 hikers were found. Other theories suggest military involvement, secret weapons testing, or even encounters with infrasound causing panic.
Other groups of hikers camping about 31 miles south of the incident reported seeing strange orange glowing spheres in the sky to the north of their camp, a sighting that was confirmed by meteorological services and the military. This theory could point to UFOs.
More outlandish theories propose an attack by a yeti or other cryptids. The lack of external wounds and the specific nature of some injuries make these harder to dismiss entirely in the absence of a definitive explanation.
One of the most widely accepted theories is that a slab avalanche or a sudden powerful gust of wind might have partially collapsed or threatened their tent, prompting a panicked evacuation. Over 6 decades later, the Dyatlov Pass incident remains an open wound in the history of exploration and a chilling reminder of the raw power and unpredictable nature of the wilderness.
A 2019 Russian investigation considered a slab avalanche, extreme winds, or a snow slab as possibilities. More recent research points to a specific type of slab avalanche caused by katabatic winds, where powerful winds deposit snow on a slope, creating a weak layer that then collapses. However, these occurrences still haven't provided a fully conclusive answer for the bizarre injuries sustained by the group.
Perhaps the true horror of the Dyatlov Pass incident lies not in a definitive monster or a clear culprit, but in the lingering ambiguity, the unsettling questions that refuse to be answered.
It serves as a stark reminder that even the most experienced individuals can befall inexplicable fates when faced with the unforgiving forces of nature and the mysteries that lie hidden within the vast, silent corners of our world.
Today, their final campsite on the eastern slope of Kolatsiach has been renamed Dyatlov Pass in their honor.
It is a place of pilgrimage for mystery seekers and thrill hunters. A stone monument stands where the hikers fell, their names etched in history.
Yuri Yuring, the lone survivor, would live to old age, but he said he never stopped wondering why fate spared him and what truly happened to his friends that night.
So, what do you think? Was it an avalanche, a cover-up, or something we can't explain? The truth, like the mountain itself, may never fully thaw.
Thanks for watching The Curious Past. Let us know what you think happened to the hikers in the comments. Also, don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more strange and haunting tales from history.
Until next time, stay curious.